Have you ever considered moving or been approached with moving to a new place for a job? Sometimes the best opportunities are not those in your backyard or on your stumping grounds. So, check out this video to get some tips and ideas on whether it's wise for you to move to another state or even another country for a job. Couple things to consider when you're moving to a new place for a job. One, obviously, if you're willing to make this much of a step, it's got to be a great job, a good fit. Let this be something you've been dreaming about, envisioning. Don't go chasing the money because you might get there and it might be a total pit. So don't go chase the money, first of all. But this is kind of a two-parter. The other half of that is if it's a great job, this is a great opportunity, the thing you've been longing, wanting, dreaming, putting on your vision board, then great. But does this area, is it somewhere that you and your personality and your lifestyle will actually fit? So if you're a city person and you love the nightlife and you love the energy, but the job is going to require you to be somewhere in little old Annie Oakley's town, then no matter how much you love the job, the rest of your life, the rest of your awake life that's not at work is going to be in the fields. And sure, you can give it a try and try to put on the good college, what they call it, give it the good old college try. Sure, you can do that, but ultimately 50% of your life will be miserable. So how much of that are you going to bring into the workplace? So definitely make sure that the place fits your activities. Do you like great restaurants? And here you're going to have to be picking your own corn or just whatever you like to do. If you like to dance, if you like concerts, does this place have that? Your lifestyle, when you move for a job, your whole lifestyle, your whole life should be an upgrade or not, and not pieces of it. Because ultimately you'll be miserable in the long run. So think about, does it fit your vibe in this new place? Okay, this next one is for my foodies out there, including me. Can you eat here? And you might think I'm ridiculous. No. If you're a person that likes trying new restaurants, or maybe it's part of your routine that you're going somewhere that's got some really good hearty food, my motto is, if I can't eat there, I can't live there. Now, I've only lived in two places now officially in my life, and I'm going to do a separate video about my recent move and my experience. But ultimately, think about that. Is the kind of food somewhere you can eat? Is it bland? Is it average? Are you okay with cooking more if it is average, or if the food is just not that great, or when people come to visit you, you don't have anywhere to take them? It seems like a small thing, but trust me, can you eat in this new place? If not, you'll be itching to go home every 5 minutes. And then when you go home, you're gonna hit up all of your spots and then eat all these darn carbs and calories because of all the food you miss. So think about that. Is this a place that you can eat? Okay. Another important thing you need to think about is financing this move. Who is paying for this? Is your company paying for it? Or is this kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity that you're taking a leap of faith for? Ultimately, you got to be able to ensure you can afford this move or this transition. And if the company is paying for it, how are they paying for it? Are you getting reimbursed? Can you afford to have so much chunk of change out of your paycheck or out of your account that if something pops up, like your United flight gets canceled? I'm saying that because that's recently happened to me, caught up in the windstorm of these flight cancellations. If you've got to make another flight that day, Or do you have enough to make the move and for unexpectancies? Because they come up. With moving, you can put your best planning hat on, but I guarantee you there will be something that either you didn't look at or just it's just the nature of transition. There are things on the road that you just didn't see. But who's paying for it? Can you actually afford it? And it's not just the move, but you got to get groceries when you're there. Are you hiring a moving company? They are expensive. I don't care what they tell you of how little they can do it for. When they show up and see how much stuff you have, it will be a different ball game. So, are you selling all of your stuff? If you've got to buy new stuff, is that going to put you out of house and home? Are you going to have to be eating ramen noodles for the first month, 2 months, 3 months that you're there? If it is going to squeeze your pockets so tight that you can't move and you're miserable and you, like I said, eating ramen noodles and warm water to keep you full, that's something you want to think about. Moving shouldn't it shouldn't drain you to that degree. If you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Click that bell notification to be notified anytime I post a new video, whether it's about this new journey, a transition that I've just made and moving to a completely different city on the other side of the country, or just encouragement and tips, principles, hacks, shortcuts to have a life and career on purpose, then you definitely want to stay tuned and keep up with me. Another thing to think about is, are you counting on your coworkers being your tribe? So, is the job that you're going to be moving for, are you going in the office at all? Is there opportunity for you to build rapport, to meet people, for y'all to go on happy hours or whatever it is, where you're building actual friendships with people in the office? Great. But if that's not the opportunity, where you move for quarterly meetings, but you're primarily remote, then think about the fact that you will have to build a whole new community in this new place. And it won't happen overnight. So if you're a person that needs to be around people and needs community, and your way of releasing on a Friday night after a long week is to go out with some friends or whatever, you got to make some. You got to make some efforts. If you know people, have folks introduce you. But at the end of the day, do you want to do that? And of course, I'm going to be speaking to my fellow introverts. If you're moving to a place where you don't know anyone and you don't like peopling, maybe it's fine for you, where you can slowly build up your tribe or your community, or rely on the people at work. But if that's not an option for you, I think there's this myth that introverts don't ever want to see people, don't need people at all, or don't want to have friends and things. You need that. Maybe it's not on the same scale as someone that likes to kind of be the mover and shaker and then be out, but you need that. And think about, how is that going to affect your psyche if you feel lonely at times because you don't have a community? Are you willing to put forth the effort to meet new people, going to networking events, going to your local chamber, being a part of that, finding special interest groups? Maybe it's a running club or a hiking club or a movie club. If you as an introvert aren't willing to do that, and you're going to be working remote, it might be a little bit of a challenge. So with great opportunity, you're setting sail to move forth. Who is your tribe? Will you be able to build one? The very last thing I'll say about this is, how often will you be going home? Is it feasible for you to just jump in your car and take a couple hours trip home? Or do you have to plan this? Get on a plane, figure out where to stay, get you a rental car. If you think you may be homesick and you want to go home pretty often, and normally in the first couple months, maybe even a year, you'll want to do that because you'll miss your people, you'll miss some food, you'll miss some ways of life, and you might need that sense of familiarity in this new place. Can you afford to do that? Can you afford, not just financially, but even physically and mentally, to keep going back and forth because it's scary being in this new place. If you can afford it financially, great, but is it worth you exhausting yourself to continuously go home? Or do you still have obligations at home to where you'll be splitting your time? Think about the financial implications, but also, are you going to be getting enough sleep by doing this? Is it going to tax your creativity and your ability to give it 100% for what you move to this new place for? Just think about that. If you feel like you're going to be so attached to home and needing to be there all the time, then maybe you should just stay where you are, and that's okay. And look at other opportunities to travel, or look for jobs that will send you to different places for shorter spurts of time instead of completely picking up and moving to new territory. Many of you know that I just recently moved across the country. So all this is very fresh for me. So I'm coming from experience that I know of other people's, but literally I'm 60 days into a new place. So I'm coming to you with freshly what's happening here. My experience overall has been wonderful. The actual transition was a bit tumultuous, and I'll talk about that in a separate video. But are you thinking about it? Let me just say, as a person who likes the sense of routine, I know where my grocery store is, I know where my favorite Mexican place is, I know whatever. This was a lot for me to do to make this move. And if you're similar, know that sometimes it'll open your mind and open up doors that otherwise wouldn't be open if you were just staying at home. So, of all the things that I mentioned, let me know which of those that you're most concerned about. Let me know if there's some myths that I didn't mention that I could be debunking as a result. But put it in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinions on what you think moving to another place for a job would be like. All right, so I look forward to seeing your comments there and your questions. But let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more great stuff about career, purpose, planning, good food, and the like. I'll check you out in the next video.